Today, I wanted to talk about how narcissists wind up being able to control your thought process. Narcissists can infiltrate your thinking capacity, your thought process, to the point that you stop thinking the way you normally did. Your thought process changes, your view of yourself changes. And one of the tools that they use to be able to do this is with rumination. I want to read the definition of rumination. It says, rumination is the focused attention on the symptoms of your distress and on its possible causes and consequences, as opposed to being focused on solutions. Narcissists train you to ruminate, whether you realize it or not. When a person has been trained by a toxic person to be ruminating, you could say that their thought process is 99.9% of the time spent on ruminating about what the narcissist did, why they did it, and how they're going to react in the future, because you're stuck in a loop of trying to find logic from an illogical situation, an illogical relationship, and definitely an illogical person.
I don't even know why he was upset last night. I said I was sorry. I don't even know what I did wrong. My fault. I keep trying, and nothing seems to be right. Making the same mistakes
Maybe it's
over
me.
and over. He said I was too sensitive. Why doesn't any of this make sense? Oversensitive. I react too much. I don't understand what's going on. Maybe he's right. I don't understand how we can't seem to make peace.
I know he loves me. He told me he loves me, but then how do you do that to someone you love?
You don't treat people that
Maybe
you love
I'm making
this
a
way,
big deal out of it. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Maybe
it's like I can't
I'm
get
making
through.
this bigger than it really is. He does love me. He told me he does.
Maybe I'm just saying it the wrong way.
Maybe I am being too sensitive.
Is it me?
Maybe I am
It has
causing
to be
all the
me.
problems.
He wouldn't
He
say
told me
those
he
things
never
unless
had
they
these
were
problems
true.
with anyone
He's
else
trying to
but
help
me.
me.
What's
It's
wrong
my
with
fault.
me? Why can't I seem to do anything right?
I hate myself.
Why is this happening?
This is my fault.
Why doesn't anything I
Why
do
do I
or
keep
say
making the
work?
same
I
mistakes
can't get
over and
through. I
over?
don't understand.
Why doesn't any of this make sense?
So again, I want to talk about how they get you addicted to ruminating, okay? And one of the main things that they do to cause this is they create chaos. Nothing they do makes sense. In our minds, someone that loves us wants to lift us up, wants to support us, is there for us when we need them, seeks to try to make us happy and not destroy us. That's our logical mind, our logical thought process thinks that way. However, narcissists do everything that we don't understand. They absorb your unconditional love and they give you back crumbs of conditional love. They give and act the opposite of anything we would expect in a relationship. So obviously our minds like to make sense of things. So our mind is trying to understand what's going on, understand why they're being the way they are, understand what's happening. Our mind is desperately seeking logic, and guess what? There is no logic. And so our mind gets stuck round and around, stuck thinking, ruminating, as opposed to finding a solution.
How can a person say such cruel things?
You don't treat people
How can
that
I
you
see
love
you
this way, but
sad,
every time I try
crying,
to tell him this
and do nothing?
it doesn't.
What? You're ruminating again? Yeah, that's because of what we just saying. Rather than go round and round on the rumination go round, why don't you focus on what you can do about the problem? I like how you think. Me too. So not only do we have the narcissist creating this chaos that just makes our mind stuck in this rumination process, but on top of it, rumination is addictive. There have been studies that show that the more we ruminate, the more our mind gets addicted to ruminating and wants to ruminate. That's why if we know anybody that's ever been stuck in ruminating, or if we've been stuck in ruminating at one time in our lives, we can look back or we can notice that the person circles their problems over and over. They'll repeat the same problems. They'll come at it from a different angle, but it'll be the same thing over and over. And it's not so much that they're complaining over and over, but it's almost like they're thinking out loud, trying to understand the problem, but they never do anything about it. And that's why family and friends can sometimes get so frustrated with victims of narcissistic abuse, because they're stuck in this rumination that causes them to talk about their problem and never strive for solutions. And rumination does nothing positive for anyone in a situation where they feel that they need to ruminate. It just doesn't help them at all. It creates depression. It increases negative thinking. It can cause someone to self-medicate. It can cause physiological and psychological distress in the body. And basically, it causes you to live unconscious. You're never present in the moment because you're always stuck up inside your mind. If this resonates with you and you found yourself, or you find yourself now going around and around on the problems over and over again, looking at the problem, analyzing it from every different angle except from an angle of solutions, stop. I remember talking with a client in my life coach practice, and we were working on rumination and overcoming rumination. And she said to me one day, she's like, Michele, but if I stop ruminating, she goes, I don't know what I'm going to do. She said, what do normal people think about when they're not ruminating? Okay, and just think about that for a second, because so many people feel that way and think that way because they've been stuck in ruminating so long that that's become their new normal. They don't know how to live life not ruminating. So basically what I helped her to see, and what we talked about, was the fact that people that are not stuck ruminating are present in their life. They're living in the present moment. So if they're having a cup of coffee, they're not up in their minds thinking about the past or the future or some problem that needs to be resolved, but they're focusing on the problem. No, they're thinking about how great that coffee tastes, or how cute that cafe is that they're in, or they're feeling what they feel at that moment. They're checking in with themselves all the time. So getting out of your head involves being present in your body. And the only way we can do that at times is with asking ourselves questions like, what do I feel right now? How do I like this? Does this taste good? How do I feel about the people around me? How do I feel about what they're saying? What would I like to say? What would I enjoy right now? Rather than spinning over and over on things that have happened that make no sense. Another tip is to make meaningful connections with others. If you've been in a relationship with a narcissist where you've been ruminating forever, you've probably been isolated from any real meaningful relationships. So start connecting to other people. Start small. Don't make it overwhelming, but in little steps begin making connections again. That will help you to have things you can focus on in your present life. Something else that helps is mindful meditation. Not meditation where you're erasing your thoughts. Meditation where you learn to allow your thoughts to be there and recognize that those are just your thoughts. Those thoughts are only thoughts. They're not you. So you're able to kind of separate and dissociate yourself from those thoughts that might be triggering you. So those thoughts have less power. And when they have no power, little by little, they just burn out and they don't continue to come back because we're not placing a strong emotional attachment to those thoughts. Mindful meditation is amazing to help you to do this. And one last tip is become proactive as to solving your problems. Practice identifying them and taking steps that can help you to overcome whatever difficulties you're going through. I hope these tips help you the way they helped me. And if you have other tips that can help people to break the habit of rumination, please feel free to leave those tips in the comment section below.